We are creatures that live double lives. One life is defined by what we say to others, how we express ourselves, and what personal beliefs we stand for, what beliefs we are willing to defend. The other life is actually inside our heads, our private thoughts. Our private thoughts define this other life. People of the internet, let's talk about privacy. In India, the debate around right to privacy is snowballing with one focal subject, the Aadhaar card. Privacy is a concept which is not even talked about in our daily lives. What is privacy? Tathagat Satpathy is a member of parliament from Dhenkanal, Orissa. He described his understanding of privacy in an interview to Abhinandan Sekri of Newslaundry.
We actually do not have a good, clear concept of privacy.
There's no privacy law also, right?
There is no privacy law. But apart from law also, these are social things. Everything cannot be governed by law. So the concept of privacy does not exist because when a child is born to a set of parents, the child is sleeping with the mother and the father till sometimes the mid-teens. So the parents have no privacy. There's also rural areas where you will see aging parents living with their daughters, living with their sons, and they all live together. They live in the same room, they eat out of the same kitchen. So the concept of privacy is very low in India. That is what my personal feeling is.
Here is Nikhil Pahwa's take on it.
My name is Nikhil Pahwa. I'm the founder of Medianama.com, which reports on tech in India. I think privacy for me is intrinsically linked to the right of self-determination, right? In the sense that I should have the right to decide what information I share. And I should have the right to decide what someone does with the information that I share with them.
My name is Mishi Chaudhary. I am a technology lawyer. There are various parts of who we are which we like to either keep to ourselves or different circles. Some things which only my parents will know, some things which my only close friends would know. And each human being has that.
So I think what's happening is with technology is that a lot more of our data is being collected.
Many apps are invasive and ask for access to your private data.
My name is Apar. I am a lawyer. I work on issues of public law, which include challenges on the Aadhaar Act. A loss of privacy would in turn just make us naked in terms of our conduct and in terms of our thought process, because that's how technology has now molded. It can, by deriving several data points, which is called metadata, get a fairly good sense of a person's intention by itself.
Whenever you install an app, it asks you for permissions to access your contacts, your camera, gallery, and much more. Wait a minute. I will let Kim explain further.
When that poll on the Narendra Modi app happened on demonetization, a lot of people tried downloading the app and to vote on it, but they changed their minds because they figured that it was asking for a lot of app permissions.
It's becoming increasingly clear that there is an attempt being made to take away the citizens' right to privacy by governments, organizations, or just by some powerful individuals. Which brings us to the elephant in the room, Aadhaar. Ritika has worked for years to study how welfare schemes are being distributed. The main objective of Aadhaar is to curb corruption. People usually indulge in corruption while distributing things like ration. Has Aadhaar been able to stop that?
The main form of corruption in a lot of these programs is quantity fraud, so that when I go to buy my ration, instead of getting 25 kilos, I may get 20 or 22 kilos. And that kind of quantity fraud you can't resolve with biometric authentication at the ration shop. I can still go to the shop, be made to put my fingerprint there for 25 kilos, and after I've done that, the dealer will still give me only 22 or 20 or whatever it is.
So negative effects is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. But first, in everywhere that it is spreading to, like a cancer, every organ of the social policy body that it goes to, it eats up like a cancer.
I also spoke to Anumeha Yadav, who has reported on Aadhaar implementation extensively for Scroll.in.
I'm a reporter with Scroll. I report on labor and social policy.
She told us stories of how Aadhaar is being implemented in different places she visited, and for old people who depend on pension.
So I've done some reporting on pension provision in Rajasthan, where I found that Hukum Singh and Kamala Devi were one couple. They're very elderly. They're both over. They were both in their 80s. Their pension had been linked to Aadhaar. They did not have an Aadhaar card. When this linking happened, the system started recognizing them as some kind of an error. Their pension was stopped for 6-7 months. This old couple were telling me that they were having to travel. They were having to book a jeep for 200 rupees. Then that is when they were trying to get enrolled, get things corrected. In fact, after I interviewed them, about 2-3 weeks later, Kamala Devi passed away.
Finally, let's talk about the flurry of reports about how Aadhaar system is vulnerable. Recently, 6 Reliance Jio employees were caught stealing fingerprints and data of customers. They were using it to issue multiple SIM cards in Indore. I spoke to Srinivas Kodri, an engineer from Hyderabad who exposed something pretty big.
Even though the Aadhaar Act says that you cannot store this information, people are storing this information in a separate databases, which I call parallel databases.
All right.
Now, so one of these parallel databases was publishing information about several children.
Right.
And their photos, their signatures, their father's name, parents, their caste information, and so on, along with their other numbers.
So these were minor children whose information was on a website, like with their photographs and everything else.
Yes.
With the Aadhaar card making headway into all of our lives, with the advent of technology and increased use of smartphones, with the increased capability of governments to track and profile all its citizens, it's time to think hard about what our rights are. I hope this podcast helped you gain a perspective on the issues surrounding privacy in India and around the world.
That was just a sneak peek because this episode is behind a paywall. If you want to hear the entire episode and more amazing podcasts like Let's Talk About and NL Hafta, subscribe to News Laundry. Support independent media, support News Laundry.